So as you can see here, there are some tabs at the top of the page. Projects is where you'll find your list of projects. So right now we're working on the Anacostia River. Dashboard is where you find that research question and that sharing option that we just used. And sources is where you're going to go when you want to start adding the sources that you're using for your research. As you can see, there's that green button over here on the left-hand side, but it says this time, New Source. And so we are going to click on that. The first thing you need to do is determine where you're finding this source. Is it something that you're finding in a database, a website? Is it something that you actually physically have in front of you, as in print or in hand? Is it viewed or heard live? Or is it even like a file, an app, or an ebook? For instance, if you were doing something like using BrainPop, you might use this particular tab. For right now, let's say that we're using a website. And when you click on website, you have even more information. And this is where it may start to get tricky because you have to figure out what kind of information is being published online. For a lot of you, that's going to be magazine or newspaper. It may be web page. Let's go ahead and select web page because that really is a catch-all for a lot of this. And when I do that, I'm going to fill in as many of these fields as I possibly can. So that means URL. What's a URL? URL is the web address. So it's basically this thing up here in this box. And you can copy and paste that here. Date of publication is important because it's going to let you know how recent that particular article is. And most recent date of access is going to let the person viewing your citations know, when did you see it last? This is particularly important if you are using a source that changes often. They'll know which version of the resource you were looking at. So when it says most recent date of access, that's when did you look at it last. Contributors. What they mean here is if you have an author, editor, or translator listed, and you want to include that if you at all can. And then the next thing we're going to do is talk about this distinction. Web page or document article title or the name of the website. This can be a little trickier, so we're going to take a second and delve into this more.